What's good, guys? It's your girl Sierra Savone. I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for coming to my channel. Thank y'all for watching this video. Make sure before we get started, you like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you also turn on those post notifications. I am 30 weeks as of today. I am going to attempt to upload at least one new video every week. If not every week, it'll be every other week. But let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So today's video, I am going to be talking about why I decided to have a home birth over giving birth at the hospital. You know, a lot of people have these speculations. There's a lot of rumors and myths about how dangerous home births are. You know, well, what are you gonna do? You're gonna need an epidural. What if you need an emergency C-section? What if you're not dilating fast enough? You know, what if your contractions get too bad? Or what if this and what if that? There's a lot of negativity that surrounds home birth when in reality, prior to hospitals taking over the birthing community, most people had home births, and they utilized their midwives and they utilized their doulas. And I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, I want everything 100% natural, blah, 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 blah. I want my food organic, and that's not me. However, I've always known since I was younger that I never really wanted to give birth in the hospital. And here's why. So the first reason behind me wanting a home birth over a hospital birth is because I know with a home birth, I'm able to freely allow my body to do what it's made to do. A woman's body is naturally meant to give birth. That's one of the biggest difference between men and women. We're built to do this. You know, with the hospital, there's so many restrictions and rules that they try to place on women, telling you can't eat during labor. They tell you, you know, once you get the epidural, you can't get up and move around. You have to lay down because you have these cords and stuff coming from out of your back, right? But when it comes to labor, you know, the best thing for you to do is to be able to get up and move around and do those squats and walk the baby out and constantly stay moving. And I didn't want these medical professionals to be telling me what's best for myself and my baby when in reality I know what's best for myself and what's best for my child. You know, I always said as long as I remained a low risk pregnancy, as long as everything was playing out as it should, as long as myself and my child is healthy, I wanted to push through with this home birth. You know, I watched a documentary. It's called The Business of Being Born. And in that documentary, they basically talk about how majority of these medical professionals that are in these labor and delivery units, including your OBGYNs, they don't know or they've never seen what a natural birth is supposed to look like, which is why they're always trying to speed things up. They're always trying to put you on Pitocin to get those contractions to start. They're always trying to scrape that membrane, or they're trying to speed things up, or if things aren't going fast enough, if the baby's heartbeat drops or the blood pressure drops due to the medicine that they gave you. You know, they're telling you you need an emergency C-section. It's necessary for you to get this, and they basically guilt trip you into doing whatever's easiest for them by saying, well, do you want to do what's best for your baby? This is what's best for your baby. And I know that a lot of women, just hearing different women's stories, when they're in the middle of labor, mentally, they're not grasping anything that's going on in the room except that pain that they're experiencing. So it's kind of like bullying to me, you know, having these doctors know that you're not in the right state of mind. You're going through all of this pain, and they're basically trying to manipulate you and pressure you into doing all of these things that 9 times out of 10 aren't medically necessary, right? So that leads me to my second point. Second reason for wanting to have a home birth over a hospital birth is because it's less stress. You know, I'm no birth expert, you know, but since becoming pregnant, I've done so much research. I've probably watched every labor and delivery vlog there is on YouTube. I've looked up all the websites, you know, I'm watching documentaries, and it's always a common denominator within every video I've watched, every documentary I've watched, and it's stress. One thing that my midwife taught me about giving birth is that the less stressed out you are, and the more you're able to let go and let your body and your baby do what it needs to do, the easier it is for you to get that baby out so he or she can transfer over into this world, right? So I know myself, I'm gonna have a lot of random doctors and random nurses coming into my room that I don't know. That's gonna stress me out. You know, I'm gonna be stressed out, worried about COVID. You know, they're telling me I gotta wear a mask. I can't have my family in there. It's just one support person. That's gonna stress me out. What else is gonna stress me out? Me feeling pressured into doing things that I know that I don't want to do. You know, a lot of the times people say you should make a birth plan. Half the time, these doctors don't pay any attention to that birth plan. You know, I've heard few stories where they've gotten good nurses and doctors that actually listen to their desires. But the remainder of the stories, I've had moms, and from these videos I'm watching, people are saying that they've had to cuss their doctors out. They've had to raise their voice, which is bringing more stress onto the body, right? So I know I didn't want any of that. For one, I don't want to be in labor that long, okay? I know that I can't control that, but I can control the stress that I'm allowing. I can't control my emotions. I can't control the pain, and I can't control how long it takes for him to come into this world. However, I can make sure that I'm giving my child the environment, and I'm allowing myself to let go so that my child and my body can do what it needs to do so that my baby can have as smooth of a transition as possible. So that's my second reasoning, is I didn't want to be stressed out to the point to where it's hindering my body from being able to complete the birth process like it's naturally made to do, right? My third reasoning for wanting to have a home birth over a hospital birth, I never wanted medications. Whether I gave birth in the hospital, whether I chose to do a home birth, or even giving birth in a birthing center, I know that I didn't want medication. You know, before I got pregnant, as far as I was concerned, medication to me only meant epidural because that's all that I knew of. But going to do the extensive research that I did throughout these 7 months so far, I realized all of the different types of medicine and procedures that these doctors try to push on mothers once they get into the labor and delivery room. You know, you have Pitocin, you have these different narcotics for drugs that can potentially harm the baby if they give it to you too late. You know, the Pitocin, it can mess with your baby's heartbeat. It can also mess with your baby's blood pressure. Then if your baby's blood pressure or heartbeat drops, they're going to rush in and tell you that you need an emergency C-section, when in reality it was the Pitocin was the cause of that drop. You didn't need it in the first place, but they tried to give it to you to speed things up. So I also did not want an epidural, mainly because of all of the different side effects that come with it. And plus, the biggest reason is because it's dealing with my spine. I don't want anybody playing with my spine. I don't care if you've been doing it for 2 days, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I don't want to take that risk. I know that there have been many women who have done it before. I know that there have been people who have gotten an epidural and they've been okay. There's also been people who have gotten an epidural and they haven't been okay, right? I didn't want to take the risk of being that person that got the epidural and something, God forbid, something ended up happening, right? I know that I'm capable of doing this natural. I know the pain is going to be something else, but I'm going in with a positive mindset. I'm going in with a good support team. I know that we're going to push through, and at the end of the day, all of that pain and the tears and everything, this entire journey is going to be worth it as long as my baby boy gets here safe and sound, right? So that leads me to my fourth reason. My biggest concern was making sure that my child has a very smooth transition into this world. I had a very long conversation with my midwife on one of our initial conversations. And my midwife is a traditional midwife. She's more so practices the holistic side of midwifery. She's not focused more so on the medicine like some of these other midwives are. And she was basically explaining to me how this birthing journey is a spiritual thing. You know, you have to go in with a positive mindset. Home birth is a mental thing. You have to prepare yourself. You know, I have to stay active and I have to do my Kegels and do my yoga, drink my teas, and I have to mentally, physically, and spiritually prepare myself to be able to let go. And as I told her, that's one of my biggest problems, is learning how to let go and just let things flow. Because for lack of a better word, I am somewhat of a control freak. But through this process, I not only feel like it'll benefit my child, but it'll also benefit me as well in learning how to let go and just let things flow naturally how they should, right? Oh, those are my top 4 reasons. There's plenty other reasons why I wanted to have a home birth. Some of those other reasons are, especially during these times now, with COVID, I don't trust any of these doctors. You know, they run around dealing with all of these patients and stuff. God forbid, you know, myself, my family, or my child gets COVID, I'm going to be upset. You know, I didn't want to stay in the hospital, for 2-3 days. You know, insurance covers it, but then I know a lot of moms still end up getting a bill, $2,000-$3,000. They charge you $45 just to hand you your baby, which is so wild to me. You know, I wanted to be able to have my family around. I wanted to be able to take control of my own birthing experience instead of leaving it in the hands of somebody that I have no clue who they are, you know. This video is not meant to downplay or discourage any moms out there who have already, had a birth at a hospital, or who's currently pregnant now and they're going to give birth. If that's what you decide is best for you, all births are beautiful. Just make sure you do your research, make sure you know what's going on, and make sure that you stand your ground. Don't let these doctors run over you. Yes, they are medical professionals. However, most of them are just trained in how to fix things when things go wrong. They're not trained to just let things naturally flow, which is why they constantly try to use medicine at any point that they can. That's what they went to school all those years for. That's what they paid all of those for all of those classes. They learned to practice medicine, right? So they're not necessarily there to let you do things as naturally as possible. All births are beautiful. If you have any questions or anything, please drop them at the bottom below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or want to know any additional information, I can definitely do a part 2 to this video. Or if you want me to talk about other topics concerning home births that you're interested in, I can do a Q&A. Just let me know. Make sure y'all follow me on Instagram. I am Sierra Simone. Follow me on Twitter, Sierra Simone. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.